So the last Gionee phone I reviewed was the Gionee M11, and that was back in January of this year. Well, in my hands today I've got the Gionee S12, and this is Gionee's latest smartphone for 2020. But what is the S12 pack, and is this a phone that you should consider buying? Before we get started, hit that like button and a sub to the channel will be most appreciated. The Gionee S12 comes in a standard white box with some brief specifications on the box. But before we dive into the specs, let's see what we have in the packaging. On the top of the packaging, we have the S12. We have a service center card, a user manual, a SIM ejector tool, and a transparent TPU case. And it's always a nice touch to have a protective case included in the package until you're able to buy a proper case. Underneath the first compartment, we have a pair of earphones, a USB-A to USB-C charging and data transfer cable, and a charging brick. Awesome that Gionee included the USB-C in this phone. Unwrapping the Gionee S12 reveals a very beautiful back panel. It glows and it gives you different looks under different lighting conditions. I absolutely love this back design, and this blue color just looks stunning. The Gionee S12 has the following hardware specifications: 6.5-inch 20:9 aspect ratio HD plus IPS LCD screen, 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage, which is expandable to 256GB via a micro SD card. We also have an octa-core Helio A25 processor in the CPU department. There's a 4000 mAh battery powering this device, and we've got 13 megapixel in the selfie camera department and a quad camera setup at the rear of this device, comprising of a 16 megapixel main wide angle camera, two 2 megapixel depth and macro cameras, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. The main rear camera has a super pixel mode that can take shots up to 96 megapixels, but we'll be trying this out when we test the cameras. Other specs include a rear place fingerprint reader, a 3.5mm earphone port, a USB-C charging port which allows up to 18 watts fast charging, a dual nano SIM tray, and this device runs on Android 10. The build of this phone is quite good. You've got a plastic back plate, which is a positive in my opinion, as it won't shatter if you happen to drop this device, and it also helps to keep the price of the phone low. The design is also a joy to behold. It's very clean. You have clean lines, great color on this one, and I absolutely love the blue color on my review unit. I like the software on the Gionee S12. It's a Pixel-esque software. It has no bloatware and no heavy skinning on this one. It looks exactly like a Pixel launcher. It's fairly fast and smooth, and the gesture navigation on this one works pretty well, although there are occasional stutters that I've discovered while using this device. The Gionee S12 runs on Android 10, which is a good thing, and I do hope that the Gionee team will be upgrading this OS to Android 11 when it's available. I'll reach out to the Gionee team to find out if this will happen. Overall, the software on this device is clean and it feels good to use. The display on the Gionee S12 is a HD plus screen, meaning it's slightly higher than a 720p screen. Colors are vibrant on this display and videos and images are clear. However, your viewing experience will be capped at 720p on platforms like YouTube. Videos look good, viewing angles were okay, and you should be absolutely fine with the video output on the screen. Although if you're pixel peeping, you should be able to see the pixels on the screen. Nevertheless, the screen is decent and it should help you get more time out of the battery on this device. In talking about the battery, there's a 4000 mAh battery on the S12. It's held up good for my 2 days of use. It's always carried me to the end of the day with about 15% of battery life left at the end of the day, and this is with moderate to heavy usage. This means you would only need to charge this phone once in a day. Screen on time averages at 5 hours on this phone. So there are 4 cameras on the rear of the Gionee S12, comprising of a 16 megapixel main wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. The pictures from the rear cameras look decent overall. I mean, all the pictures that I took, they looked good. The color representations were okay. If you're just going to be using these images on social media, on your phone, just showing them to your friends, then they're absolutely great looking images. But there is a super pixel mode on the Gionee S12 that takes very high resolution images that come up to 96 megapixels. The images from the super pixel mode look quite better than what you have from the regular shots from the 60 megapixel camera, but the difference isn't that much. Again, overall, the picture quality on the Gionee S12 is decent. Here are a couple of pictures I took with the Gionee S12. The S12 uses a Helio A25 processor, which is an entry-level ARM SoC for smartphones, and this chip was introduced in early 2020. The Helio A25 integrates an LTE Cat4 modem, a Power VRG8320 graphics card, and a 1080 30 frames per second video decoder and encoder. This means that on this phone, you're limited to 4G bandwidth and your video recording output is capped at 1080p at 30 frames per second. For gaming, you can do the casual gaming on this phone, but don't expect to run heavy 3D titles at high settings on this phone. And that's down to the processor and the GPU that we find in here. You'll be fine playing 3D titles at low or medium settings, and you'll be fine with 2D games, but still the phone performs decently with this chip. Animations are a bit slow, but you can speed in this by reducing the animation scale in the developer settings. So how much will the Gionee S12 cost you if you decide to pick one up? Well, this device will cost you 64,900 Naira, and it's available as of the release of this video. I'll be leaving a link to where you can pick one up in the description of this video. Guys, if you have any question, please leave them in the comment section, and also follow me on my social media platforms to reach me personally. Do like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also turn on notifications so you're alerted when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.